I'm Shannon.
And I'm Lisa.
And KK's here too. And you're listening to Blacktivities,
a celebration of all things Black.
Black culture, Black history,
Black perspectives, and Black panache.
Celebrating our Blackness doesn't mean exclusion.
Everybody's invited, but you got to come in and have a seat.
So let the Blacktivities begin. It's season 5.
Woo!
Welcome to Blacktivities. I'm Shannon and she's Lisa.
Hey, hey.
Karen couldn't be with us today. Y'all pray for her. Life is lifing.
Yes.
Thank you to everyone who's joining us from day one this season. We truly appreciate you listening from all over the country and worldwide. Personally, I want to thank one of our listeners who left us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts. His name is James Wilder 777.
Hey, baby. How you doing? You gotta get that girl 6 voice. Hey, how you doing?
So I've said before that we probably don't have too many white listeners. I mean, it is a show called Blacktivities. And it's about Black culture and our experiences as Black women. But James said in the most recent episode, you mentioned doing a Q&A, Ask a Black Woman. I think you totally should. This podcast gave me so many questions about how I can help bring attention to the issues Black women face. I completely understand how answering questions and educating white people is draining. So maybe you could do 1 or 2 questions at the end of each episode. Something like that would be really helpful for the white people like me who listen to this podcast. Red heart. James, we heart you too. And we heart all the other white listeners out there. We do have an opportunity for you to ask questions now. And we also have an opportunity for you to be part of our panel to participate in the show each week. So we'll tell you more about it at the end of the show and add those links in the show notes for you so you can be more of a part of the Blacktivities. Now, Lisa, you know I'm not a small talker. I kind of hate all that fluff.
Okay.
But it's been a few months since last season, so give me one positive update in your life since last season.
Okay. As you guys, our followers on IG, if you saw that my oldest daughter has graduated college. Very, very happy about that. So I now have a college graduate and I'm still working part. I have a second daughter in college as well. But my baby, she's a graduate and she has a full-time job that comes from what her degree is. Sometimes that's hard finding a job. So she was able to bag a job 2 months before she graduated. And happy to report, regardless of everything that goes on, she is debt-free, Jesus.
Yes.
Round of applause.
Yes.
Yes.
Kudos to you, Mama.
Yes. So 1 down, 2 more to go. What about you?
Well, not quite, college graduation, but I had a 5th grade graduation.
I did too. Yes. Okay. And how was that?
It was sweet. I look at him like, how did you get this old? I can't believe I'm going to have a middle schooler next year and he'll be the same age of the kids that I teach. So that's kind of weird to me.
Yeah.
Hopefully he don't lose his mind.
No, he won't. He won't. He's a very, very, he gives off calm. He's very calm, gives off calm vibes. So I think he got this. Now I'm worried about mine. She likes to, I don't want to say she's the class clown, but she likes to play around. She jokes, so sometimes I have to say, hey, you got to stay on task. So I'm curious about middle school to see how this is going to play out.
Okay.
So, but we'll see.
Well, let's get on with the show.
Let's go.
So it's Juneteenth week. Mm-hmm. We have talked about Juneteenth at least twice already. And each time we try to look at it from a different angle. One of the things that Juneteenth represents is freedom, because we're celebrating when the last of the enslaved people in Galveston, Texas, were told on June 19th, 1865, that they were free and had been free for 2.5 years. Fast forward to 2024, it seems like these politicians are trying to play Uno with house rules. Not even the Uno rules, house rules, using multiple skips and some reverses.
Triples and doubles.
Yep. When it comes to the freedoms that we fought so hard to get from before 1865 to the present. So that's what we're talking about today. Let's get into the
Big Facts.
Today's big fact is about Project 2025. Have you heard of that?
No.
Okay.
What's that?
Project 2025 is a plan outlined by conservatives, also known as Republicans, in a handbook that's about 1,000 pages, so that if and when Trump becomes president again, they can start day one with their agenda. The Heritage Foundation put this together. Anything with the word heritage in the name kind of makes me nervous, because America's heritage includes slavery and some people that wanted to keep it. But in this plan, they want to get rid of any federal employees that don't support their plan and put people who do in their spots. They want to overhaul the Department of Justice and stop them from trying to fight the spread of misinformation. They want to get rid of any diversity and inclusion programs and anything that supports what they call the woke agenda. Ooh. And government agencies. Basically, they want to diminish the power of the other branches so that the executive branch, which would be Trump if elected, can do whatever he wants to do. So I went and looked up the document myself, because sometimes the news be making stuff sound worse than it is. I always like to go to the source. So when I looked at the document, there are 5 sections, and they include taking the reins of government, the common defense, the general welfare, which that one goes into every department of the government and kind of what they plan to do. 4 is the economy, and 5 is independent regulatory agencies. I did not read the whole 1,000 pages.
Interesting.
I'm not on that kind of time.
Well, you ain't have time like that to do the 1,000 pages of our rights? No?
I'm good.
Oh, okay.
But I did read all of the foreword, which pretty much outlines what they hope to accomplish. And I think, well, I did link the document for you guys in the show notes if you want to go and read the 1,000 pages yourself. The foreword states that their agenda is to, number 1, restore the family as the centerpiece of American life and protect our children. Which doesn't sound so bad. It sounds pretty good, right? I mean, the problem is the way that they want to do it. The second part of their agenda is that they want to dismantle the administrative state and return self-governance to the American people. Now, I'm quoting here as I read these. 3, defend our nation's sovereignty, borders, and bounty against global threats. And 4, secure our God-given individual rights to live freely, what our Constitution calls the blessings of liberty. So, all in all, they don't sound like anything too bad. It's when you dive into some of the finer details that kind of concern me, right? So there's a few things that I was like, that's not so bad. But then there's a few more things that I question.
Okay.
Your opinion might differ.
Okay.
A few of those things included them saying that schools serve parents, and anyone who doesn't agree with that should not receive federal funds, and that educators and librarians should be registered as sex offenders if a kid happens to maybe find a book on your shelf that has something sexual in it, because they want porn to be illegal.
Okay, so if you have a book that just so happened to just be in your room, and a kid stumbles across it, then you are charged and then have to register as a sex offender.
Yep, that's what they want to do. And Florida kind of is experimenting with
these
things.
Of course. It's always Florida. Florida is like the experimental prostitute that they do experimental drugs on. You know what I mean?
Right.
Right. So, yeah.
Well, they got Ron DeSantis, so he's trying to be a conservative champion here.
Right.
Also, it concerned me where they said environmental extremism is decidedly anti-human. Stewardship and conservation are supplanted by population control and economic regression. Now, that's a quote.
So you said population control and economic regression.
Basically, what they're saying is if we're concerned about the environment, that is extremism and anti-human. Conservation of the environment, they're saying, has to do with population control and economic regression. But to me, that's saying F the environment and y'all's climate change.
Exactly.
We're making too much money off this oil, so we got to find a way to make it sound negative. That's what I got from it. Now, I pulled out some quotes from this foreword that were interesting to me and or may affect Black folks. There's a lot of stuff in it, but we talk about Black culture, so I wanted to stick to Black culture issues. And we're going to talk about those during the discussion. I want to read some of those and kind of discuss what we think it means for Black people. And that's big facts.
I'm still dumbfounded with the sexual activity because it's like they pick and choose. Like, why? Of course, like don't get me started because I did recently have a conversation with a coworker, which of course I now see why you shouldn't talk politics at work because I sat there and was like, "Are you serious?" But I am really dumbfounded when it comes to the whole like. I can understand banning certain books. But I feel like the books that need to be banned, they don't really pay attention to. Like it's ridiculous. Let's turn into Fahrenheit 451. If we're gonna do it, let's just go all the way out. Let's just do it. Let's burn them all. You know what I mean? Like let's just forget it. You know what I mean? Let's be fair. Constitution. You know what I mean?
Oh man.
Who needs freedom of speech?
Yeah, you can't talk to nobody where you work because you in MTG's district. Yeah. So these are the people that elected and continue to elect Marjorie Taylor Greene. So yeah, I can imagine it would be hard to talk about politics at work. Right.
So I have to be very careful. Like we're careful here, but still, I mean, we want to make sure we're giving just some type of platform to just address how we as Black people should be thinking about this type of stuff and let that, put towards you voting, the importance of voting. Okay. That way, little small things like this, even though we can't make a great, big, drastic change, our opinion is still out there in some form of matter. So
everybody's entitled to their own opinion.
Right.
Let's talk about woke culture.
Okay.
The boogeyman. Right. So in this plan, there were several quotes about woke culture, and it kind of seems like woke culture to them is grouping anything dealing with diversity and people of other races and ethnicities being included or not excluded, but also LGBTQ plus rights. They're grouping those together and calling it woke culture. So here are some things that they said, some quotes, because I want to use their words, not my words.
Right. Let's see.
It said that they want to defang and defund the woke culture warriors who have infiltrated every last institution in America. The next conservative president must make the institutions of American civil society hard targets for woke culture warriors. This starts with deleting the terms sexual orientation and gender identity, diversity, equity, and inclusion, that's DEI, gender, gender equality, gender equity, gender awareness, gender sensitive, abortion, reproductive health, reproductive rights, and any other term used to deprive Americans of their First Amendment rights out of every federal rule, agency, regulation, contract, grant, regulation, and piece of legislation that exists. So they want to get rid of those terms and any kind of documents that might be related to the government or any kind of federal rules and regulations. That's what that's saying.
Why? Like, why? Why would you do that? You do that, and then the same person that is saying we need to get rid of this, as soon as something happened to them, they ain't gonna be able to, use their whatever card that they have and say, "Oh my God, because I am a female." Like, it's like they want to use it to their advantage, if that makes sense. So, like, why? Why do that? So it's like, okay, well, I'm not saying that African Americans Black people. We want to make sure that we're not the first ones that was fighting for our rights. I mean, you got to think of the Native Americans as well, and as well as other countries that have their issues. But I think when it comes to, Black people, we did have to bring up the diversity and inclusion, considering what happened many years ago. So it's like we have more people that is tagging on and more situations is coming to light. Now it's like, oh, we got to put a thumb on this and, to get this under control. So let's get rid of it totally. But it still exists.
Right.
Like there's going to be some type of unique situation that's going to happen, that's going to have to be addressed. And if you get rid of that, then what?
There's your reverse.
Ooh.
There's your reverse.
I wonder what color that reverse card is.
Red. Red reverse.
Red reverse. Yeah. So it's like you can't do that. You can't pick and choose. That's the issue. I'm gonna get me a shirt. I got a list of shirts I'm gonna get made, but I'm gonna get one that says pick and choose.
Yeah. So I mean, that could have some real consequences for us as Black people. Because if you think about things like you've talked about, housing things, financial things, trying to get loans, if you're taking certain verbiage out of these contracts, that means that people don't have to follow them.
Right.
So if I want to discriminate against you and not give you a loan for this house or whatever it is, I don't have to do it. It's not in the contract.
Right. So that leaves more room for them to play around with you, basically,
right.
Playing around with the words, especially when the verbiage is not correct or not there or specific. So yeah, they can eat that one.
Right. A couple of other, quotes. The noxious tenets of critical race theory and gender ideology should be excised from curricula in every public school in the country. These theories poison our children who are being taught, on the one hand, to affirm that the color of their skin fundamentally determines their identity and even their moral status, while on the other, they are taught to deny the very creatureliness. I think that's...
See, look, they making up words already.
Creatureliness that inheres in being human and consists in accepting the givenness of our nature as men or women. They write it this way on purpose so you don't understand what they're fully saying. But basically, first of all, critical race theory is not in public school curriculum.
Right.
I'll tell you that as a teacher, as an educator for 16 years, I've never seen anything related to critical race theory in curriculum.
And it should be there.
I don't disagree with that. But if you want to be like, I don't think that our systems are biased or racist or built for somebody else to have an advantage, then I'll give you that. But we don't teach that. We don't teach that. They barely teach history.
Right.
So that's not in the curriculum. I can tell you that. But this line about these theories poison our children, who are being taught on the one hand to affirm that the color of their skin fundamentally determines their identity and even their moral status, while on the other, they are taught to deny the very creatureliness that inheres in being human and consist in accepting the givenness of our nature as men or women. Now, if that's the case, why aren't we being treated like everyone else?
Like if we're being so extra when it comes to being woke, and like why do we even have this in the first place?
Why do we have to have these conversations in the first place?
Right. Why do we have to have Blacktivities podcast?
Why do we have to affirm the that's why do we have to affirm the color of our skin? Why do we have to say things like Black king, Black queen?
Right. We have to give ourselves our own diversity and inclusion affirmations because of situations like that do occur and happen on a regular basis.
But in the sense, all we're saying is that we are human beings.
Right. So when I apply for this job, why does it matter if I'm Black?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And when I'm at work and something happens and I voice my opinion, why am I automatically labeled the mad Black woman?
Mm-hmm.
So
when
where is this coming
Marjorie
from?
Taylor Greene comes for Jasmine Crockett.
Hey, that's another thing. I'm putting that on a shirt.
Why do they tell her to calm down? She's
down
out of hand.
Right.
When she got what she deserved.
Right. Right. And don't get me wrong. Y'all, if you are a true listener, you know me and my struggles with lashes. Okay. We've talked about this several times. I'm not very good. I don't wear lashes. And unfortunately, I have glued my eyes shut twice trying to put lashes on. Okay. One of them almost resulted in an ER visit, but that's another story. I was still there to support because after watching the whole thing, that was just wild.
She asked for it.
Yeah, she did ask for it. Now the video though of the airport video where that one person, a random Black person, got off their flight and saw Green just standing there, and what she said to her, the look that was on her face. Oh, that was amazing.
Just imagine for me.
Right. If I don't send for you. But the support though, the support that was given, to the representative that had to stand up for herself, and y'all know who we talking about. But it's unfortunate, but that's a great example of why we need certain things like this if it's supposed to be fair. If everybody's supposed to automatically have their rights. But most people say it was freedom of speech, though. But was that the appropriate place to say that? Stick to the topic. That had nothing to do with why they were there.
Bet she won't come here no more.
No, she don't.
Another quote. So part of the thing that they kept saying in that foreword was that they want to make our federal government smaller. This is what they say is happening in our government and why they want to make it smaller. So they said, the American people's right to rule ourselves is the obverse of our duty. Obverse, that's like the counterpart.
Right.
Bureaucrats and the Department of Education inject racist, anti-American, ahistorical propaganda into America's classrooms. Woke bureaucrats at the Pentagon force troops to attend training seminars about white privilege.
Interesting. Now, I didn't know about that. That's very interesting. So, white privilege. Again, why do we even have that term? So, are you saying that There is no such thing as white privilege.
And is that what they're calling a racist practice?
Right. What is black privilege?
What is racism?
It's interesting. Again, when it comes to politics and previous laws and things that we have, I mean, the proof's in the pudding that racism basically ran America, ran the world. Because
I mean, the proof is in the pudding, like you said. Like, it's been proven that systems benefit other groups of people versus us.
Okay. So we're looking at it on the other side for that person that agrees with these 1,000 page, what was this called?
Project 2025.
Yeah, Project 2025. Okay. So for that person that agrees with it totally, all right. In their defense, would they say that they're trying to make it to where everyone feels 100% safe and comfortable, and if everyone should just be just people and it shouldn't matter?
They would probably say that.
Yes. And again, looking on their side, I understand that. But unfortunately, even if that comes into play, you still have that other type of people that is just going to be the same person that they are and use it to their advantage. And people are going to get screwed regardless.
But they say that while getting upset because of things like them adding the Negro League statistics to MLB statistics.
Right. And what was the issue with adding that? Like, why? Like, well, why is there an issue?
People.
Right.
Okay. So let's move on to, I picked out some quotes. For me, it's for the laughs. Because when I read them, I kind of chuckled a little bit. Okay. So the first one says, left to our own devices, the American people rejected European monarchy and colonialism, just as we rejected slavery, second-class citizenship for women, mercantilism, socialism, Wilsonian globalism, fascism, communism, and today, wokeism.
So they rejected, just as they rejected
the
slavery.
American people, they're saying, rejected slavery.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but I think there was a whole war that might have been.
That's what I'm
to try to keep slavery. I mean, I could be wrong,
but we don't want to take their credit though. Let's let them keep their credit.
Okay, here's the next one.
Okay.
The next president should crack down on the crony capitalist corruption that enables America's largest corporations to profit through political influence rather than competitive enterprise and customer satisfaction.
Interesting.
So you want Trump to crack down on himself and pretty much every other politician. Because if you think that these corporations don't pay these politicians to get bills passed for their benefit, the benefit of their company and making money on both sides,
right,
then you are blind.
Wow. Okay.
The last one, ultimately, the left does not believe that all men are created equal. They think they're special. They certainly don't think all people have an unalienable right to pursue the good life. They think only they themselves have such a right, along with a moral responsibility to make decisions for everyone else.
So they started off with, ultimately, the left does not believe all men are created equal, and they think that they are special.
Correct.
So just the left.
Well, they always put the left in there. I don't consider myself left or right.
Okay.
Because I'm somewhere in the middle.
I don't keep you know what? I'm the same way. I am. I'm the same way because there are times where I have to look at whoever it is and they say something that they may something I say something that I agree with, and then they go totally left. And that happens a lot more on both sides.
Yeah.
So I mean, I kind of understand that.
But basically, when they say the left, they're talking about the woke culture people.
Right.
Right. So basically, they're saying in so many words, or this is my interpretation, that we, Black people, think that we're special. We don't believe that all men are created equal. We think we're special and we deserve special treatment. That's what they're saying.
So who started it first? Who's the original left? I'm just asking, who's the original left? Who started it? Like, who's the real left?
So the parties kind of flipped at a certain point.
I know that's my point.
Mm-hmm.
That's my point. So it's just like, how can you say that about that we think that we're the special? And again, I know this is just opinions, guys. But when we're just coming in and we're just asking for equal rights, we're just asking for it to be fair because certain people do get special treatment, or they still act as if that they are the better people. The economy, they get privileges, whereas we don't. So how is it that we are, left and we believe that all men are not created equal because we get those results on a regular basis? Or we get weird treatment. So
that's the first part that's concerning. The second part is they think only they themselves have such a right, along with a moral responsibility to make decisions for everyone else. What are you doing?
Exactly.
I mean, I'm not in favor of porn or whatever, but if you say that porn should be illegal, is that not making a decision for everyone else?
Yeah, this is true.
I'm not for abortion, but if you say that abortion is illegal, is that not making a decision for everyone else?
For everybody else, exactly. So, as Charlamagne say, donkey of the day goes to not just baby, and the World Hypocrite Award goes to. It just doesn't make sense. Make it make sense.
It doesn't.
And you have my support.
So hypocritical.
Right.
Yes.
You make it make sense. You got me for life. Just make it make sense.
All right. Lisa, what piece do you have today?
Yes. So today's piece was brought to you by, I'm sick of this bullshit. Leave me alone. If I can forget like you tell me to, tell me how. Just show me how to forget. You got to just show me. You got to just show me. But anyway. So here I am. And I tell you, smiling so hard, eyes squinted while my jawbone is locked in place. A permanent smile chiseled in stone just so you aren't made to be uncomfortable. Ain't no way in the world somebody's skin like mine can have 34 felonies and still strive. What if I soar? Can I soar? Can I succeed successfully with a blemish on my skin, a scar that many can relate to? Model in a fashion show without coke on my nose? The pedophile in the big seat whose voice is bigger than mine can rule my life? His voice bigger than the struggler who's struggling. Dream big in a glass house, they say. Confident steps while walking in Pinocchio slides. Just so the majority feels safe. If only it was cool. We're taking your advice to forgive. We're taking your advice to forget because it's the past, right? Dull it down as much as you would like because acceptance somehow is now etched in our DNA. The smile in place, semi-permanent, just so the majority feels comfortable. Thank you. All right.
Yeah, that's good. Some truth in that.
Yes.
All right, so we started doing this last season, the call to action for the culture. What is your call to action for the culture? How can we make the government draw for and change the color?
So I would like to say we need to, again, like I was stating before, pay attention to what is going on. Even though the news may be BS at times, still use that as some starter source to get some type of information. But it all starts at home. We have to talk to our children about what's important and talk about politics and what is going on and how it basically works. And then have that be the leading determining factor, because everybody has their own opinion and say on what they do. But if we're going to need to get on some type of common ground, the same page somehow. So that's why I think it's important for us to have knowledge and vote.
Yeah. I'm also calling the culture to go and vote in November. I know that Joe Biden is old and the choices are bad.
Bless it.
But personally, if Trump and his boys are able to carry out this Project 2025 plan, I'm more afraid of that unchecked power than I am of old and senile. Like, there's other people who can step in and help old and senile. But Trump is going to do what's best for him, regardless of what other people say. We're voting for bad and worse, but we still got to do it, right? It's terrible choices, but we have to make it if we don't want America to become racist again. Because Trump wants to make America racister again.
Yeah.
Some people might disagree, but that's my thoughts. So my other call to action is to click that plus in Apple Podcast or that subscribe button in YouTube and make sure that you're getting these episodes.
And your favorite episode you have, though, send it to somebody. Share the episode, man. Share it. Yes.
We'll be back next week. So until we meet again,
King and queens keep doing big things. Let's go.